Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
How are ya?
You know, I am.
I
I was
am
trying to
who
think
I
of like,
am.
yes, I was trying to think of like, if I did anything exciting last week.
Surely.
I mean, I last week was our Catholic schools week or like our school spirit week. And Monday I took the kids bowling and I was not well on Monday, so I was miserable. And also the just like complete inability to grasp directions that happens every day happening in public was just too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Totally
I
fair.
don't know. I kill them. Um, and then Tuesday was like comfy clothes day, so I wore pajamas to work.
Nice.
And then Wednesday was red and white, like pink and white, like Valentine's clothes, so I wore pajamas to work. And I also finally my schedule worked out to go to one of the girls' basketball games. So I got to see some of my girls play basketball and they were so excited that I was there. It was
Nice.
so cute. And then Thursday I stayed at work until 7 o'clock
Ooh.
because so my school has not a single person of color on staff, which is not for lack of trying. It's just a
Right.
Catholic school in a suburb. Like it that is just how it worked out. And I'm not necessarily faulting any of the other teachers because a lot of elementary school stuff is very focused on Valentine's Day for February.
Of course, of course.
But I just found it really upsetting that everybody's Valentine's stuff was like February door stuff was Valentine's. So I spent a lot of time making Black History Month posters, and I have like 8 Black female authors like highlighted in my room, and I was like, I just need these kids to know that like their voices matter.
Yeah, and it's not just about this commercial holiday we have on the 14th.
Right. Like, sure, I have some like window clings for Valentine's Day that I'll put up
Well, of
next week.
course.
Like, and I'm not gonna like ignore Valentine's Day and I'm gonna give the
Right.
kids Valentine's, but like if I have to have something that's up for the whole month, I'd rather do something that they are gonna get something out of.
Right, of course, of course. Valentine's Day is like a one day, it's the holiday. Let's do this. It's over now. It's like, you know,
Mhm. But it was also our open house weekend, so like I was getting my classroom ready and cleaning and reorganizing, and so I was there till 7 o'clock on Thursday, and
I
then
feel
I
like you
was
have a lot
there.
of open houses. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's true or if it just feels like it.
It just feels that way. We have one that's like for current students, like their parents to meet the teachers at the beginning of the year, and we have two for like prospective students to come look at the school. So it's not a ton.
Feels like
Oh,
a lot.
yeah. But so I was there. I only stayed till 4:30 on Friday.
Good for you.
And then I came back Saturday, then I was only there for 2 hours.
You know,
So it was, and to be fair, on Thursday when I was there till 7, I didn't start working on my classroom till 5:30 because I had drama club till 5. So I was like an hour and a half Wednesday, an hour and a half or hour and a half Thursday, an hour and a half Friday, and 2 hours Saturday to like fully clean and redecorate and rearrange my classroom for open house.
right.
So it wasn't the worst. It was just, and it probably would have been a lot faster if I was not me.
That's, yeah. Yeah, that's
So
very true. Very true.
but so like it was like a long week and I was at school 7 days in a row. Today was the 8th day in a row that I was in the building.
Too many days.
And I'm just tired.
I feel that. I feel that. Well, I have like 75 things I could talk about
Mhm.
because so many things happened in the past week.
Yeah.
But since this is indeed Thriller Thursday, I thought I'd share some of the recent horror movies I've watched. Um, I was on a plane, so that's where I watch all my movies. And I watched some good ones. I watched Smile, which
Oh, how was that?
really good.
Okay, because
And
the commercials freaked me out.
yes, the movie ended up being less freaky than I thought it was going to be, but a lot of
Okay.
other people said it's the movie that scared them the most.
Okay.
So somewhere in between that, probably.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. And I had to tell Nora, one of the girls I work with, has what is it? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Vasovagal disorder.
I vaguely know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the word is.
So I think it's vasovagal disorder, but like she if she sees blood, like
Yeah, yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
faints and then goes into a seizure and whatnot. But it's not good. So I was like watching this while I was sitting beside her and I was like, don't look at my screen. I was like, there's so much blood. I was like, don't look at anything I'm doing. But it was really good. And then I watched Barbarian, which I heard such mixed reviews about, and they're all valid. The good and bad reviews are
Oh,
valid.
good. Good, 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 good.
I liked it well enough, and it has Justin Long in it, and I love Justin Long.
I know you
So,
do.
so enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And then I watched See for Me, which is a
Okay.
girl who is I've never seen it advertised, but it's a girl who's blind and she's house sitting, and someone breaks in, and she's like in the middle of nowhere, and she uses that See for Me app, and like it was very good. I really liked that one. It was a good storyline too. And then I watched The Immaculate Room, which I've never seen advertised, but Brian has seen it advertised, and nothing happened. It was like a slow burn movie, so I was like, okay, okay, we're really building to something major. No, do not recommend. Do not recommend.
Okay.
Um, but I did see a good show in person last week. I went and saw, I think we recorded before this. I saw Noelle's, she stage managed So Touch at New Circle Theater.
Yes, we did record before that.
Okay, good. And it was so good. It was funny. It was set in like this 2007 in southern Florida. And so it was a lot of old people, and it was so good. It was so good though.
Nice.
Um yeah, so that if it comes to more places than New Circle Theater, I do recommend it.
Nice.
And now some of the actors want me to represent them, and I've told them they have to wait a minute. But they're lovely. I think they did a great job. One guy's our age and one guy's like 75 and hilarious. So
Love it.
I'm down for it. I just have to like get
Figure it
myself
out.
together. Right. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, I'll take everyone and then mess up everyone's career. So yeah.
It's
That's
okay.
me. That's my horror.
I was watching TV with my dad the other day, and I go, and there was this guy in the show, and I just kept looking at him and was like, he looks so familiar. He looks so familiar. And so I'm like on IMDb looking at all his credits, can't find anything, look at his Wikipedia and find out that he went to the same acting school in New York City as my ex. And I go, oh, I think he looks familiar because I know him.
Right, because he's a real person to me. That's so funny.
Interesting. Like I'm not friends with him. I've met him like one time, but I was like, oh no, he looks familiar because like I met I oh
That's so
cool.
funny.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so there's your horror update for the month.
Fantastic.
And
I was trying to think if I had any updates on anything to watch. But I really have been so busy and so overwhelmed and tired that I haven't watched anything. I finished the Matt Smith season of The Crown and moved on to the Olivia Colman season. And I was really, really nervous that I was going to hate it. And Dan kept telling me that it was going to take a little bit to get used to. but the actor who plays Prince Philip in the second set of episodes is not like Matt Smith at all, but he's so much more like Prince Philip in real life that I was like, nope, did not. I'm good. I'm cool.
I heard that season was really good.
Yeah. I've only seen one episode, but I really, really liked it. And Helena Bonham Carter as
Right.
Princess Margaret, I was like,
Enough said.
yes,
Right.
yes. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
I
only
think
been
that's,
watching other than my movies on the plane, I was watching Supernatural.
I YouTube. That's all I
Yeah.
got. That's literally all I did.
So when we're in a slump as such, what we need.
You need some spiritual words of affirmation. And today, our affirmation card says, do one thing every day that makes you feel fucking fabulous.
I love it. So what did you do today that made you feel fabulous?
God, what did I do to make myself feel fabulous? I don't know that I have. Mm, I told a bunch of kids that you can't eat someone and then throw them up and reanimate the body, even in fiction, because that's disgusting and stupid, and that their ideas were dumb, and that made me feel good.
That was really good advice. And I strongly support that. Um, what did I do that made me feel fabulous? I I texted my new clients that I was ready to meet with them and we're setting up new things and I did a lot of research that helped me get there and it felt pretty good. Felt pretty good.
Good. Yay.
Um, Things that don't make you feel as good, but like that are worth it. Um, this week on Thriller Thursday, we are watching Bates Motel, season 5, episode 4. It is simply titled Hidden. It aired. It aired March 13th of 2017. It was rated 8.3 out of 10. Can you guess? Oh, well, the number one song was still Shape of You. But
Yes.
can you guess what the number one movie is? March 13th, 2017.
You know, I should know because this was before I left for Thailand. But I don't.
It was the live action Beauty and the Beast.
You know, I saw that in the movie in the theaters 3 different times. I went with Matt when I was dating him. You know, I was thinking of 2018 in my brain. That's why I couldn't figure it out because it wasn't
It's 2018 since you went to Thailand.
yeah. So don't know 2017 because I saw it in the theater with Matt on a date. I saw it in the theater with Wayne on kind of a date, but not because that's my GBF.
Yes,
And then
it's
I saw
Wayne.
it with
Yeah.
my parents. And then I saw it with my parents too. So I saw it in the theaters 3 times. So it checks out that that was the number one movie.
Yeah.
And actually, the trailer came out around this time, whenever of the year, because my time hop in the last week and a half has been like fangirling over the trailer every day.
I believe it. I
So
believe
yeah,
it. That
that
adds up.
checks out.
And the number one book, which got really popular that had a resurgence in this past year,
Ugh,
is The Shack by William P. Young,
I do
which
not know that.
it's pretty popular. I haven't read it. It's a book that Caitlin actually bought. She hasn't read it, but she bought
Oh,
it.
good.
My mom really loved it. We watched the movie when I went home for Christmas last year, and I fell asleep.
Ugh.
But was it last year or did we watch it this year? I have no sense of time. I think it was last year, and I fell asleep. But I hear it's great. Maybe it was slow, but the book everyone loves it. I hear it's sad
All
though,
right.
so I'll probably never read it.
Fantastic.
Um, some facts about this day of things that have occurred. Um, Dave Franco and Allison Brie were married.
Good for them.
I wrote James at first, and I was like, those are very different people. I understand
They
they're
are.
brothers, but they're not the same person.
Are they still married?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
follow through.
Um, there's this guy that I really like who just had a baby with somebody, but I can't remember if it's Alison Brie or Alison Williams.
Mm,
So
those are different people.
they are.
Well, while you look that up, it is also Holy Day. Is that how you pronounce it? I think that's how you pronounce it. With all
Holly?
the holly with all the colors.
Holly, yeah.
The Indian
Holly.
holiday, yeah. I always say it differently every time I say it, and it's 4 letters. I don't know why
Oh,
I say it
just
so differently.
kidding. Alexander Draymond's fiance is Alison Williams, not Alison Brie.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Um, the icon of a song, "Closer" by the Chainsmokers, came out around this time. Not this specific day, but around this time. And the Nintendo Switch was released a week and a half before on March 3rd. I know.
Yes, that
I
no,
troll.
that I know because March 3rd is my dad's birthday, and so
Mm,
we pre-ordered the Switch for him so that he would get it on opening day on his birthday.
I love a good Switch. I love it.
Yes. And
Um,
actually, that was 2017, so it was his 50th birthday.
oh, that's a great 50th gift.
I know.
Kudos. The director. It's not Tucker
Okay.
Carlson.
Tucker
It is
Gates, you mean?
Tucker Gates. I just make names up. It's not Tucker. It's not
No,
Tucker
Tucker,
Carlson
Tucker
or Tucker
Carlson.
Gates.
Yeah, Tucker
It's
Carlson is a news anchor.
yeah, yeah. It's not either of those people.
Okay.
It is indeed Max Terrio.
Um, Max Terrio is, first of all, he's in a new show called Fire Country that I keep seeing commercials for, but I haven't watched yet. But my dad and mom just started watching SEAL Team from the beginning, the David Boreanaz show with the Navy
I haven't
SEAls.
watched it.
But Max Therio is in it also. And I was like, what is Dylan doing here? And Dad was like,
So I also need to watch that show you're telling me.
yeah, no, SEAL Team, it's really good. It's David
I need to watch Seal.
Boreanaz.
I mean, yes, I'm familiar with him. Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
and Max Therio. So like, yes,
great. Oh, match made in heaven.
correct.
Mm. Anyways, this was his directorial debut.
Yeah.
The writers are the same, but we do have a returning writer of Tori Spear, who we've already talked about. Now, the guest star. If it wasn't obvious who I was going to pick, I did indeed pick Brooke Smith, who plays Sheriff Green. She is
Um,
known for hold your applause.
oh, I don't have
She
applause.
she is known for Silence of the Lambs, which is probably the first time I ever saw her. She's known for Bad Company, which was also with Anthony Hopkins, Labor Day, and Fair Game. Some other things that she's been in. She had an incredible role in the show Unbelievable. And last but certainly not least,
She played Dr. Erica Hahn on Grey's Anatomy, who was the first person that Callie realized made her attracted to women, and my least favorite character ever on the show. So I saw her and I wrote, ew, Erica Hahn, get away from me.
and I had to deep dive really hard. I knew she was on Grey's, but I couldn't remember her character name because it's been so long since I've watched it. And I had to really figure out where her Grey's Anatomy credits were because they were not towards the beginning, even though she had way more episodes in that than she did other things.
Yeah, which is so weird because I also didn't even look her up. I just literally wrote Dr. Erica Hahn.
I just remembered she was on Grey's and I couldn't remember her name. I remembered her character, but yes. So that is her.
She was a cardiac surgeon who was Preston Burke's rival, and then she transferred to the hospital, and then she started dating Callie, and then they broke up because Callie was bisexual and she was a lesbian, and it was an awful storyline.
I do indeed remember that storyline. Yes. It was rough. She also shared an apartment with Jeff Buckley before he released Grace.
Fantastic.
And when she had her child, she was in labor for 78 hours. So, fun facts about Brooke Smith.
Hours?
Yeah, that is over 3 days. Over 3 days.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so maybe you'll give her a little more grace when she shows up in Grey's Anatomy next time. She's been through a lot.
God damn.
Yes. And now we start where we left off. We have hit Caleb with a car. The chick was driving because he was reading his text messages and not paying attention. PSA, don't text and drive.
Correct.
Um, and Norman is the voice of reason while being an insane lunatic. And he's like,
Correct.
we should totally call the police. He's like, we have done nothing wrong. You were you were not there was nothing you could have done. He
You
ran
were
out the
driving and
road.
he ran into the middle of the road. Like it was,
Yeah. And Norma and Chick are both like, you're crazy. There's so many things they could figure out. And
and
he's like, what
he was
the?
like, why?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they go to the house? And Chick was like, because he was chained in your basement. And
Where your dead
also,
mother
right, and
lives.
also, there's another dead body in your fucking basement.
Right, right. Maybe it's not a good idea. And Norman like can't seem to wrap his head around that, but he's like, fine, whatever. And so Chick's like, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of the body. He's like, just help me pick it up. I was like, you are very matter of fact for someone who is pretending to take notes for a thriller that you're then gonna hopefully turn him in for. But you are very much an accessory to crime at this point in time.
Correct.
And
I mean, to be fair, he did also almost get Dylan and Caleb killed on a drug deal slash arms deal gone wrong. So it's not like he's never been involved in crime.
well, absolutely, but like also you keep being like, it's okay, he's writing a book. He's gonna be fine on the other end. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so, dude. Like he's very problematic for someone who may or may not turn out to be a good guy in the end.
I genuinely think that Chick is the most accurately portrayed version of chaotic neutral I have ever
Yes.
seen. Because he genuinely is not a good person, but he is not a bad person. He just is. And he thrives on the nonsense. Like he is the truest chaotic neutral
Right.
ever.
Because while he doesn't really cause a lot of it himself, he puts himself directly in the middle of it all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh, now I want to do that whole chart. Now
Okay.
I'm gonna have to figure out who
I love
is
it.
each of them.
We'll talk about it at the finale.
Fantastic.
That's now your homework. And he's like, I'll take Caleb's body. And he's like, don't make the chicken because we're fine. We're just talking about dinner later. No
He's like,
problem.
don't cook the chicken because I have plans for it. I'm gonna cook it when I get home. Yeah, home because you also live there now.
It's
What?
wild. It's
What is
insane.
happening?
No one knows. Chaos. So then we go back to Alex, who is on the lam. And he is currently still alive, which is nice. That's good.
Yes.
Um, so he's telling this girl that shot him, he's like, if you could go and like get me some medical supplies, like totally an accident, I get it. We won't tell anyone. Totally fine. So he sends her off to get medical supplies and he
And
runs off.
and I was like, because like what you can't go to the hospital. Like what do you
Right. What are you gonna do? Now you're gonna bleed to death? You're gonna bleed out?
yeah.
You're a lunatic. But then we go to the credits at the longest intro ever of a show.
Right. We don't usually, I mean, even when we've had long ones, having two entirely separate scenes, we don't
Right.
usually have. Like that was
Yeah. It was very I forgot there were credits that were coming.
right. It was a little jarring.
Um yeah. So then we naturally go back to Chick, who is taking Caleb's body to the water and giving him a proper Viking funeral.
But while wearing accurate Native American, I was like, Chick, you strange, beautiful man, what are we doing?
He was fitting the part. He wanted to make sure Caleb got a proper send off.
It was, but there was like way too much knowledge, like of the correct plants, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is happening right now?
Yeah, it was a weird moment. but just the right touch for that scene.
Yeah.
Um, this is another episode that had a lot of scenes that interwove, and it never felt like jumpy to me. Like it felt
No.
like they made sense, which is good. Um,
But
and then
also
we
nothing made sense, but like not
right.
because the show was done badly, but because I no longer know how to make sense of anything that's going on in the show.
I mean, we have like 6 episodes left. It's we're just gonna do our best and hope for the
Right.
best.
Right.
Um, and then we go to the sheriff's office, and this is where we meet Brooke Smith and learn that she is the new sheriff of White Pine Bay.
And I said, "Oh, Erica Hahn's the worst," but like she kind of seems like she's a good sheriff, I guess.
Right. I was like, so she's kind of sassy and kind of like, but also like seems smart enough. So like,
Sorry, my phone started
we're-
playing weird noises, but then I
yeah.
remembered you can't hear my phone in the microphone.
Oh, I cannot. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I did not play weird noises.
No, my phone started like screaming, but then I was like, "Huh," and then I was like, "Oh no, you can't hear it."
I could not. You're correct. But yeah, I think also like she's gonna be straight and narrow,
Mhm.
which is new for this town.
Well, but also she's like asking the receptionist like questions about her personal life and everything, and she seems like she's just like a genuinely good person. And I was like,
Right.
that is uncomfortable, but then I realized it's because it doesn't make sense on the show for anyone to be a good person.
Right. Because even the good people have flaws. Like
Right.
you look
And
at
she
like
just seems
Alex
like,
and Dylan, and they all have something
yeah,
else going on.
she just seems like she's like a genuinely good person.
Right. So we'll see.
So she'll
Um,
probably die.
immediately die. Um, so we go back to the Bates home, and Norma and Norman are arguing about dresses. He is packing them up, and she is not thrilled about that. And he's like, "You got to get new stuff. You have so many things." And I'm like, "Norman, she's dead. Why are we getting new things? Why are we changing things up?" Like,
Well, and then he starts yelling at her. He's like, I don't like the way things have been going. I don't like what we're doing. I go, then don't do it, you fucking Looney Tune.
right, right. Put her back in the ground. Let's act like this never happened. And that's when the sheriff stops by.
And I said,
And
oh, so she's fucking competent. That's why she seems like she
right,
doesn't fit here because she's a competent sheriff.
she's like actively doing her job, which we're not used to. She starts asking about Jim Blackwell, who has gone missing from his probation. And she's like, I'm not like super concerned about him like escaping probation, but like I'm concerned about his well-being because he also just left jail where Alex Romero escaped from or he was at. And that's
Yeah,
when Norman learned that Alex has escaped also.
correct.
And she's asking about him and all this, and he's instead of saying anything that like is logical, he's like, I just don't like him. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, Norman.
And then she's like, is there maybe something hidden in your house? He's like, I know where everything in my house is. And she's like, you literally just said you had too much stuff and you don't know where anything is. He goes, yeah, I guess I did say that. I was like,
Right. He's like, I know that, but it's I know it's all my stuff, even if I don't know what's there.
but it's not your stuff. It's your mother's stuff because you're a fucking creep.
And probably other people's stuff that you stole when you killed them. But
Right. And
fine.
also, Alex was married to your mother and hid stuff in the house that you don't even know about.
You weren't even there. You weren't even there.
And
Yeah.
you killed your mom before she had time to tell you.
Right?
Does that mean Alex's money is still in the house?
Yeah. Yeah. In the basement buried. Um, and then he goes inside and he's telling Norma about the sheriff and he's panicking. And she's like, how would they catch us? Everything's fine. Calm down. And he's like, no, no, they're gonna know. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Norman, you were like, he
And then,
has
oh, and
the
Norma goes, "What do you want me to have done? Let Jim Blackwell kill you?" And I said, "We all would have been better off if you'd let Jim Blackwell kill him."
100% would have been better off. But like also, um, I've lost all of my train of thought. My apologies. I don't know. Oh, Norman's reactions are like, if you didn't know he was Norman Bates, you're like, no, these are logical reactions. If his mother is like alive and saying these things and people are trying to kill him and he's trying to like hold everything together, he has that very well down pat if he
Except
was a
for,
stable
well,
person.
here's the thing, the whole conversation would be logical and reasonable, even on both ends of her being like, what were we supposed to do? He was trying to kill you. And he's like, well, we could have, like, that whole conversation would be fine if there were two people there.
Right. Yes. Yes. Correct. And like he has so many conversations with Norma, dead Norma, that are like super logical like this and make so much sense. And it's like, why are we so crazy if we have all these logical thoughts? Like, it's a complete split that he has.
Yeah, it's bananas.
And in another nonsensical choice, he goes to donate Norma's dresses and he goes to see Madeline. And he gives her Norma's dresses because,
I just fucking hate him. I hate
I
him.
know, I know, because he thinks she looks like Norma. He's in love with Norma, et cetera, et cetera. And then Madeline's holding a baby. And I was like, God, I hope this isn't some kind of like foreshadowing because that's
Oh God,
terrifying.
it is sick, sick and twisted.
And I hate it. And then Norman's driving home and like chuckling to himself. He's just so like
Oh, sorry,
happy.
I had one note about that scene. He goes to pick up shower curtains is why he's actually at the
Oh yeah.
store. And he's like, we just go through these. And she's like, I'm sure you go through them really fast. He's like, they don't last as long as you think. I said they'd probably last longer if you weren't dumping bodies in them.
Right. If you were wrapping bodies up and taking them out, they'd last a lot longer. Goodness. So he gets home and Chick is there. And Chick is like real moving in. He's
Yeah,
like
he's got his
got his
bird.
bag, he's got his bird, and he is ready. And Norman's like, maybe this
Maybe
isn't
you,
the best
yeah,
idea.
he's like, maybe you should like not live here.
Right. He's like, I think we need to start spending a little bit time apart. And Chick is not happy.
Chick is like gaslighting him a little bit.
Yes. And I was
He's
like,
like,
dude, you don't live here.
he's like, oh, I guess you don't want to be my friend then. Like, I mean, maybe he's like, no, like we can still hang out. You just can't live here. He's like, so I could come over tomorrow. And he's
He's like,
like,
no.
no. And he's like, how the day after tomorrow? And he's like, no. And then
Yeah.
he's like, and then Norman's like, maybe sometime next week. And he's like, oh, I'll just fit you in my schedule. And I was
Chick, you don't have a schedule.
like, you're literally sound like my ex-boyfriend right now.
Right. Like, you have no schedule. You don't work. We've already talked about how you don't work. Literally, your schedule is just coming over and acting crazy with Norman and fake Norman, or Norman and fake Norma.
Or whoever is fake. They're both fake. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
correct. With the crazy people. And so he goes off all whiny. And we get to Alex, who is sure a sight for sore eyes. He is not looking well.
No.
And he finds a payphone and he sees a like
I
an
was like, how
apartment
are you
across the
still
street.
walking?
How is he not bled out? But he's like, he's such a genius. He gets on the payphone, he calls in, he says his name is Ben Hayes, and then his neighbor has overdosed. So they come and bring the ambulance, and he just like, so he can rate it. And I was like, he
I
is so much
I
stronger
was
than that
like,
movie.
the level of intelligence and cunning is both sexy and terrifying.
Absolutely. And
Like
I'm thinking about like,
I am afraid of him and also would like him to push me up against a wall. Like it's a weird feeling.
it's a weird feeling. Like when I get shin splints, I'm immobile. Like it's hard for me
I
to like
literally
move
didn't go
myself.
to my Christmas party because I had cramps.
Right. And then Alex Romero over here is like shot in the stomach and bleeding out. He's like totally fine. I'm running away.
Yeah.
No, could not do it.
Um, I have the one thing I will say, it's the most unrealistic part of the show because I've never met a man who can deal with pain that way because
Oh my gosh.
the men get a head cold and they turn into 4-year-olds. So
Absolutely
walking around with a gunshot wound,
not happening.
fiction.
Because like that's also the thing. Like I'm like, oh my God, my shin splints hurt. I can't move. But also like if I have things to do, I
I
would like go with a broken leg. You know, like
I I tried to work through a dislocated hip and
right.
everyone yelled at me.
Yeah,
Like
I get it. Ugh, the world. So we go back to the motel And lo and behold, the sheriff is back. And in a smart move, because she's a good sheriff, she's like,
Yeah.
can I see the guest registry? Which is a nod to the original film where the sheriff asked for the guest registry to match the handwriting from
Yeah.
Marion Crane.
Yeah.
And so they're chatting, and Norman's like, oh, yeah, we totally get so many people here from Canyon City. I was like,
I was like, you almost just blew yourself in. Like I got so nervous. So
I think he did.
nervous.
I'm not sure she believes him.
I'm not sure she believes him either, but I also think that she has enough doubt that it wasn't enough yet. Like she's second guessing whether she said that or not.
Right. I think that's true for sure. I think that's true for sure. But yeah. So he tells her that she said it, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then she's on her way again. So he goes to talk to Norma and immediately starts asking about the car because she asked him about the car. And
Yeah.
so now he's telling Norma, he's like, where's the car? What are we talking about? Jim Blackwell? And she's just like, absolutely not. It's gone. No one's ever going to find this car. 10 seconds later, they're in the woods searching for this car. And I was like, you people are insane.
Hmm.
And I don't understand why you think this is a good idea. All
Well,
of this is a bad
and
idea.
then they get into a fight while they're doing it, and Norma, which probably isn't actually happening, is like
Right.
screaming. And I was like, I want you to get caught so badly. I want so badly for you to get
Right.
caught right now.
Even though, like, no one's screaming, so they're not going to get caught.
So
Such a bummer.
stupid.
But because he thinks they are, he, like, tackles her to the ground and, like, strangles her to death. Again. But, which was a really cool scene, seeing her, like, dead corpse and then morph back into live Norma.
Yeah.
And,
And then she
very,
just goes, don't ever do that again. It's like,
yeah, obviously she can't die now because she's dead. But, like, Norman's having, like, an almost panic attack. And I'm like, okay,
mm-hmm.
fair, but also you're insane.
Yeah.
It's fine. So we wake up the next morning and Norman's getting a call from Village Hardware. My goodness, this girl. Bless her heart.
She's an idiot.
So, yeah, so
I
she's
don't, I
like,
don't,
he's whispering on the phone because he doesn't want dead Norma to overhear him. And she's like telling him how she's lonely and she's like, I don't know what to do. She's like, I think I'm going to get a dog. And she invites him over for dinner. And I was like, that's a terrible idea. We all know that's a bad idea.
no, none of this sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So
10 out of
naturally
10
he
do
says
not
yes.
recommend. Right.
Right. So naturally he's like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna come over, and he's stoked about it. So he next up he goes to pay Chick a visit in his rundown little tiny home. And at
Oh, wait,
first,
yeah.
oh,
The other thing was on that phone call, she was like, it's so weird. I don't, it's like the strangest thing ever. Your mom's dresses fit me perfectly. And I was like,
oh
of
yeah,
course they fucking do.
because you're um what is personifying his dead mother now for him. Ick.
Gross.
Ick. But yeah. So he goes to Chick's house, and I wasn't sure at first if he was Norma or Norman because of how like
Yeah.
subtle he was, but also like poised, and Norman's never that poised.
But
Um,
it was because he was nervous and awkward. Like
right.
it was weird.
Yeah. And so it was Norman, but I did question it for a bit, which was fun. Um, and he's like asking Chick what he's doing, and he's like, oh, I'm writing a suspense novel that maybe they'll turn into a film. And I was like, why would you even start telling him that? Like, what are you gonna do now when he asks questions? I don't know much about Chick, but I'm gonna guess he's not like a great novelist. So like you can't just come out of nowhere and be like, come up with a story off the top of your head. You ask me what I'm writing, I will tell you something different every day.
I don't know. He's made up some crazy shit in the past. I think he is actually a great writer. I
But
think like
could
that.
he make up something on the spot that Norman would believe?
Sure, Norman's a fucking crazy
Ugh,
person.
Norman is crazy, you're right. But then he of course asked Chick if he knows how to hotwire and get rid of a car. I was like, what is happening? But then he's like,
And Chick's like, sure I do, but like only if you tell me why.
right. And Norman's like, oh, I just want to get rid of a car, no big. And I'm like, No one takes a car to a chop yard for no reason, Norman.
Right. No
And
bid
hot
my
wires it. Like,
ass.
nothing makes sense, you're saying.
Oh God.
So finally, Norman's like, okay, Norma's out of control. This is the problem. I was like, Jesus Christ. So Chick's like offers to help with Norma. And I don't,
He's like, there's something really wrong with her. I go, there sure fucking is. She's
it's
dead.
you. But yes. And now they're besties, which is always fun.
Oh, he also is like, I don't know how to rein her in. I said, you can rein her in if you take your fucking meds.
That's the way. That's the one. So then he goes home and Norman's getting ready to go out to dinner with Madeline. And
Mhm.
Norma's concerned about where he's going, naturally.
Naturally.
And he just straight up tells her he's going to Madeline's. And he's like, I'm in charge of my life now. You have to respect that, yada, yada, yada. And Norma's like, fine, you do what you need to do, and I'll do what I need to do. And I was like, that is so ominous. I knew this girl was going to die from the beginning. And like, that solidified.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Ugh. So then we go to Madeline's.
And of course, not only is it one of Norma's dresses, it's that dress.
Yeah. And he shows up with flowers. Insane. So Norman, but like in their conversation where he's talking, he sounds so eloquent. It's
Yeah,
like so unnerving. I just put ick. He gave me the
yeah,
ick this entire episode.
yeah.
And he's like telling her she should talk to Sam and trying to like help her feel better about her relationship and about her life. And I'm like, you truly are saying the right things, but I know you're a lunatic that kills people. Like, it's
Right.
very
And
hard
then
to have both of those
and
things.
he's like, we all have days. He's like, everyone has days that like things don't feel real unless they're right in front of them. She's like, oh my God, you have days like that too. And I was like, no, ma'am, he only has days like that. There's no such thing as a
Yeah,
day that he doesn't have that.
because he's crazy. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, she's like, "Let's make a cake and watch a movie." And I was like, "What's
No,
happening? No, why? Why are we doing this?"
that is that is so sexual and suggestive and inappropriate. Nobody
Right?
bakes a cake and then watches a movie on the couch eating cake unless they're trying to fuck.
Or if they like are hanging out by themselves making a cake,
No, no, no. Yes,
like I'd make a cake and watch a movie.
by yourself, one with your family around the holidays.
Right, right, right.
Those don't count. No two people by themselves make a cake and watch a movie unless the cake they're trying to make is a baby.
Correct. Correct. Ugh. So we have a brief scene with Alex now, and he is hiding in the shadows, and he's going to Maggie's.
I forgot Maggie existed.
Is Maggie his sister?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that, but I also couldn't remember who
I
she was.
literally go, I forgot she existed.
Yeah, I also forgot she existed. I was like,
We
we've
haven't
definitely seen her, and I'm pretty sure
we
it's this.
haven't seen her since season one.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Um, and I was like, now she's about to harbor a fugitive.
I mean, if my brother was a fugitive for a crime that wasn't really his fault, I would definitely harbor him.
You know, if my sister was a fugitive, I probably wouldn't. But teach their own. Teach their own. And I guess it would matter like why. Like if
Right.
Alex Romero came in my door, I'd probably harbor him as a fugitive. Like,
Yeah.
but
That's what I said. If my brother was a fugitive for a crime that wasn't really his fault.
right, right, right. Yeah. There are still some people that I wouldn't harbor, even if it wasn't their fault, though.
Well, yeah, no, I
Harborers.
there's a lot of people, but like my brother is not one
Yeah,
of them.
for sure. And I'd harbor your brother probably. I know we
Yeah.
haven't like really met, but like I'd harbor him probably.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he seems fine. Um, so then we go back to Madeline's and we're making a cake and staring into each other's eyes endearingly. Ugh.
Vomit.
And they're just making me feel so icky. And now they're making out. Like it's ugh, it's terrible. But of course, Norma shows up. And Norman has this whole vision where Norma slits Madeline's throat and she's dead, just like every other girl he slept with. And
Yep.
instead of sleeping with her and following through, he runs away. So she
I
doesn't,
literally go, at least he didn't do it. Like that was crazy.
yeah.
Him like actually consciously leaving.
Which makes it like so wild where his mental state is now because he can separate one thing from the other, but not really.
Yeah.
But like he knows enough to know that like if he didn't leave, she was gonna die, even though he thought it was normal.
Right.
So
Right.
that's a development.
It's
Um
a crazy development.
and yeah, it was crazy. So then he gets home and he can't find Norma and he's yelling for her and he's searching through the house and blah blah blah. And then he like stands in the kitchen and panics. And I was like, I think he's really seeing the world in this moment.
Well, and I know the shot that like solidified that fact that he was having a fucking nervous breakdown and not in the normal Norman nervous breakdown
Mhm.
was it the angled shot of him looking at the table with the empty plate and cup and the full plate and cup and the way the light was just on those two like seats.
And it was such a dark scene. And yeah,
But then when he turned around and his eyes shifted, I didn't know if he left again. Like I genuinely was unsure in that moment if he left again or if he was finally
yeah.
seeing everything. Like I didn't.
I think it was a combination of both. And it was meant to be the whole idea was that it was meant to be like the scene from the finale of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and so where you have that same thought. And
Oh shit!
at
Sorry,
the end, it's okay.
I just pulled my microphone cord
You
and
know what
like.
happens. But yeah, that was the end. That's it. We did it.
Ooh, ooh.
Ah! So on that note, who do you want to punch in the face?
I'm gonna punch Madeline. Because to be fair, no, no, no. Like Norman,
That's
does he
fair.
probably deserve it more? Yes. But Norman is clearly unstable.
Right.
Like, I feel like anybody could have a conversation with him and know something was off. Like, maybe
Except if you
you,
live in White Pine Bay.
I mean, I just, that, like, yes. But, like, you are a married woman and this man clearly likes you. And you're taking advantage of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that makes you a bad person.
Yep.
And like,
Absolutely.
sure, you could give me the whole sob story of her marriage is bad and her husband doesn't actually like her and he's cheating on her too and blah blah
But
blah.
then leave.
But yeah, but then leave.
And like she doesn't seem to be in an abusive relationship, so she doesn't feel like she's in any danger if she leaves.
Right.
Which, like, obviously is a different situation. But
Yeah. But like, and it's like it's not set in the time period of the Psycho movie. Like it's not the 50s or 60s where a woman like getting a divorce because her husband is unfaithful is a bad look. Like it's set in like the 2010s. Just leave.
right, right.
So I was gonna punch Madeline.
Fair, fair,
For
I suppose.
setting women back.
Yes, yes, correct. Well, I'm gonna punch Chick because I just don't trust him. I think he's only making bad decisions, even if he's smart about it. I just I just want him to get out of the way. He's just making things worse, I feel like. And
Which is fair.
I just can't with him. So who's your MVP?
Um, because there's no good left in the show. I'm picking Chick as my MVP purely because Caleb definitely did deserve a Viking funeral.
Well, he did. No, that's fair. That's fair. Um, I disagree on him being MVP, but fine, to each their own.
That's why I was
Um,
laughing because I was like, she's gonna be so mad because I'm gonna pick Chick for my MVP. But it's really just because like I hate everyone.
well, my MVP, I'm shocked isn't yours, is Alex Romero because
Really?
he is so smart and cunning, and he is out to save his own life and to avenge Norma's death.
It's fair,
And I'm
fair. I'm
like,
actually surprised that Alex is yours. I thought your MVP was going to be Sheriff Green for being the first person with a fucking brain on the show.
I'm not ready for her yet. I don't like
Okay.
Brad, but we'll see. Maybe one day.
Okay.
But right now it's Romero because he's been through a lot and like he's going for the right reason. Like I don't condone killing people unless they're Norman Bates, but I think he's on the right path. And I know that he's not successful because, I've seen the movie, but for now, he's my MVP.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a couple of one trivia facts.
A couple
And
of one.
the blue dress, which was the last one put in the box that he got rid of,
Yeah.
mirrored the exact dress that both Norman and his mother wore in the 1960 film.
Perfect.
That's it. That was my fun fact. That was my trivia.
Love it. I love it.
Do you have any like predictions? Do you have like thoughts? Like
Um,
what's happening in the world?
I think I don't know.
I think
I mean,
Madeline's next to die.
well, I was gonna say I think Madeline's gonna die. Um, I want to know things that I want to know that I don't necessarily know that I'm going to know.
Hmm.
Um, is Chick going to find Dylan and tell him that Caleb's dead?
I think Chick's gonna die.
I mean, but is Dylan ever going to find out that his fucking parents are dead?
Oh, for sure.
He has to. Like that's
Yeah,
got to be
for
a
sure.
thing.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be from Chick though. I think he's gonna end up stopping by one day and the
But
whole
like
world
why? But
knows.
like why? Like that's the thing is at this point that doesn't make sense and there's only so many episodes left, so I'm trying to figure out how Dylan finds out.
Maybe Norman and his mental breakdown calls Dylan because he doesn't have anybody left.
But he doesn't have Dylan's number anymore. Because doesn't have the same phone number.
Maybe he has Caleb's phone.
I don't know.
But
I hate this show. I fucking hate everything about it.
I think the way that Norman looked at Chick in this episode makes me feel like he's also coming up on a very quick death soon.
I'm like this close to just Googling everything else that's gonna happen
No, ma'am.
because I can't take it anymore.
No, ma'am. We have 6 episodes left.
And we're doing two of them, watching two of them next week.
Hang in
But
there.
then I'm taking 2 weeks off of watching anything.
You'll be busy. You won't even notice. I will come through this computer and assault you.
That was
If,
a threat. Everyone on the internet, you just heard that. She directly threatened my life.
well, I almost said murder. No, no, I didn't threaten your life. I said assault because I almost said I would murder you. And I was like, that's a really intense threat. So I like dialed it back a bit. Yes. But
I don't
we can
know.
all prevent that by not looking up spoilers.
I get injured trying to put pajamas on. I don't know if I would survive an assault.
Ugh. And I would still be blamed for it because of how the law works. Ugh, fine. Fine. I'll
But
come like
I won't.
steal something of yours that you really love.
Okay. I won't look up spoilers.
Great. Because I would be upset.
I like how you went from jump through the computer screen to an assault you to be upset.
Yes. Yes. Well, I had to tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
Get a little too feisty for a Monday night. But yeah, so if you guys have thoughts, also don't look up spoilers, but you can talk to us at the places, deathandaliens@gmail.com, all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for Sci-Fi Sunday.
Got a good one coming. Bye.